Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Take Two Film Podcast. It's been a while on a new platform, on a new sort of channel. If you haven't watched us before, I'm Owen. This is my brother Drew. Even though it does say Owen on there, but it's Drew. We're twins, massive film enthusiasts. Drew studies filmmaking at university. I try to go cinema a lot. We both hold Cineworld cards as well, so very much into our movies. But the next couple of episodes, we're going to usually do one a week. But there's going to be a few more the next couple of days due to obviously the Oscars happening this weekend or next weekend. As we're filming this on a Sunday week till the Oscars. Today's episode is going to be more talking about what's happened over the past few weeks. That's talking the Critics' Choice, the BAFTAs, the Oscar, the Actor Awards, the Old SAG Awards, and the Golden Globes. Basically, all the major precursors going into Oscars next week. It's obviously been a very uh, late Oscars, where usually it's done by at least early March. But welcome,
Yeah,
Drew,
we,
back.
we yeah,
Um,
like last week, it was exactly a week since the Oscars. I think it was that Monday.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's quite late Oscars, but it's been a very exciting precurse, um, and kind of unpredictable, which we'll get into.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about Oscar predictions on Friday. We're going to go through all the Oscars, talk about what we think. But like as Drew said, it's been a very open Oscars period over the past, or for the precursors anyway. Some very big shock wins, and really, I think it's probably the most open Oscars we've had in a while.
Yeah, 100%. All
Yeah,
right, should we? So we'll start with the first that started this award season, which is the Golden Globes. I think. No, it
yeah.
was Golden Globes. Yeah.
The Golden Globes. This was obviously Uh, this was well, no, actually, we'll start with Critics' Choice. That
Oh,
was
Chris.
first,
Oh, yeah, that was earlier.
um, which
So
yeah was quite an interesting one. Obviously, it's always the one that kicks it off back in January. So over
yeah,
2 months now since we've had the Critics' Choice, and this one was not really what a lot. I think it was a lot of people thought it was going to be, wasn't it?
yeah, this one felt very lenient towards everyone who thought was going to win. One battle winning Best Picture, as well as director for PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson. Timothy Chalamet winning Best Actor, and Buckley winning Best Actress for Hamnet. Supporting actor went to a surprising one with Jacob Elordi. Supporting actress went to Amy Magdam from Weapons, which she's incredible. We'll talk about some of the other stuff that happens with her later in this. The one that's not anywhere else, but just at the Critics' Choice is Best Young and Actor slash Actress, which
Yeah,
did go to Miles Cantor for Sinners. I loved him in that. I think he brings that kind of energy to that film, and him being that's his first time ever acting, like properly in a film or a TV show. He did an amazing job, but
yeah,
the whole of those best actor actors are incredible. You had Carrie Christopher, who played Alex Lilly in Weapons. He was great. So Jacob Dupe was incredible in Hamnet, playing the title role. And a couple of people, and then Shannon Mejia Gorman from Rental Family. The films that were nominated there that I have seen, and I think
yeah,
Rental Family is such. It's such a great film that just didn't really see that much love from the Oscars this year, or any of the things that much. But I think it was just such an emotional film, and you could just kind of it was played so well by Brendan Fraser and everyone else in that film, 100%. Um, and then screenplay went to Kugler for original, and then PTA for adapted.
those
Cinematography,
two do look quite sewn
yeah,
up. I mean, we're going to talk about the precursors in a moment, but
100%.
that's been pretty similar.
Yeah,
Just going to go into what's probably the before we sort of talk a little bit on is that there's obviously a new Oscar category this year, best
yeah,
casting. So it's a lot more emphasis on some of the stuff at the Golden Globes and stuff that is for casting. Obviously, this time around at the Critics' Choice, it was Sinners, but that's casting and ensemble, so it's a little bit different at
yeah.
the Globes or at the Critics'
Then
Choice. So
when we get to actors, they also won ensemble. So
yeah,
Um, when I saw when their nominations were announced for the Oscars, though, I was a bit disappointed that I didn't see like The Long Walk There, as I
Yeah.
think the cast for that is incredible. The whole group of them that are in that film create that piece, that beautiful film that is emotional and intense. And I'm kind of disappointed there wasn't any from them this year. But yeah, Golden Globes has been, it was kind of, obviously with the mixed categories as well. When they change the genres is a bit different.
So that's a bit different. What we'll just do is we'll mainly today talk about the big categories, which is what we're chatting about now going up. And obviously, best original song. I think only am I right in saying it's only really the Critics' Choice that do it before the Oscars,
And
um,
Golden Globes,
and the
which
Golden Globes.
which
Yeah,
both of them did go to Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters, which, in my opinion, like, it was gonna get nominated either way, but I just don't think it deserves to win. I feel like people will vote for it because they watch it with their kids and stuff, like some of the Oscar voters. But I Lied to You is such an incredible song from Sinners. It
yeah,
creates that emotional masterpiece. Miles Canton again, who I think wrote that piece as well,
yeah.
um, is with Ludwig Göransson, who is also one of the best people of all time, nearly an EGOT status now. So he only needs a Tony, and he's won. He's one of the best. He probably by the end of his career he'll leapfrog Hans Zimmer, and even John Williams to become one
I
of
was
the
gonna say
best
it'd be tough
of all times.
to beat John Williams, but 100%. We'll move now to the Golden Globes. Like Drew has said, Golden Globes do it a little bit differently because there's it gets split into drama, musical,
Mm.
or comedy. Even though a lot of them aren't musicals, a lot of them aren't comedies, but just how
Yeah,
it's split. This time around, best motion picture in a drama. In this one battle and Sinners was split. For motion picture, it was Hamnet who picked up the victory. Actually had the most that are in the Oscars choice with The Secret Agent, Cinema Value, Sinners, and Frankenstein. That was obviously a big win for Hamnet, but we've not really seen that elsewhere. We'll talk more of that in a bit. Um, Best motion picture musical comedy was One Battle After winning again. Big for them. Uh, Animated film. It was K-pop Demon Hunters. They seem to be a lock for this category,
yeah,
um, considering how big it's been.
mm.
Motion picture in a non-English language, international film. This went Secret Agent,
Which
which
is
also,
surprising
yeah,
because sentimental value have been picking up that award mostly the other places. Um, so it'll be about. I knew it was going to be a battle between them two. I was hoping they might sneak. It was just an accident into more awards as well.
yeah,
Because I think that's such a powerful piece of media as well. Um, due to all the segregation stuff in the country where it was originally made.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, it also picked up a award in Best Actor in a Drama, which, to be fair, if Wagon was going to get a chance at an Oscar, he needed to win this category. He needs to win it here because, as we'll talk more, he didn't get nominated at the BAFTAs and he didn't get nominated at SAG either, or the Actor Awards. So that was massive for him. Whilst in the Best Male Actor, that came to Chalamet, who had a really big lead going after the Critics' Choice and Golden Globes. But as we move on, um, that got a lot different. And then Jessie Buckley picked up a win for Hamnet for Best Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. And then in Musical and Comedy, that went to Rose Byrne, um, as those two were the two big ones that got split. And then supporting actor and supporting male and female actor, they don't get split. That went to Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value and Tiana Taylor for supporting female actor. And then director went to Paul Thomas Anderson. And with Golden Globes, they don't get split for screenplay, unlike pretty much everywhere else. Um, that went to Paul Thomas Anderson for
Yeah,
uh, one battle after another. So very, very interesting. Um, but
right.
again, the Golden Globes sort of went similar other than actor, but we'll talk about actor as it changed a lot going into the next few weeks. But what was your thought on the Golden Globes, really? I think it was a lot different, wasn't it? Or like a little bit similar to Critics' Choice, but obviously there was a couple of changes
Yeah,
there.
100%. Golden Globes were I when I saw him, I was really interested for what they did. Um, Surprised to see a win for Rose Bryan there. I thought it was gonna go. I was hoping we saw a lot more of Chase Infinity in this category.
Yeah,
Um, like she's nominated basically everywhere else but the Oscars, which I think is really disappointing because,
yeah,
in my opinion, she's the best actress in that film. In my opinion, Tiana Taylor doesn't have enough screen time and isn't powerful enough in that film for me to be nominated for supporting actress in a motion picture. Um, but we'll also see that she will have some opposition coming up, especially when we go in to the BAFTAs, which were a couple weeks ago,
yeah.
um, with best film going back to one battle after another, and they're also picking up director. So it looks like Paul Thomas Hazard could have one battle on lock for director.
Yeah,
Um, we had a late, and then we'll talk about how a late push from Sinners as well coming up. But
a
we
hundred
had
percent.
best actress in a
Um,
leading role back to Jessie Buckley. Actress in supporting role went to Wanami Misaki, the first time that she has won in this category. Um, for this, I mean, she's the only Brit nominated in that category, so people might say, "Oh, because it was a British nomination," but I think she's incredible in that, and she's still up for that Oscar category race as well. Um, and then we'll go for supporting role went to Sean Penn, so that's the first win for him. There is a bit differences with some of these nominations. There's no Paul Mescal at the Oscars, but he is here, and a couple British films that haven't been released in the US, which we'll talk about in a second. As
yeah.
original screenplay went to Ryan Coogler, so that's his win for that one. Adapted went to Paul Thomas Anderson. So we kind of see the category of those two getting the opposite nominations there, and it's great to see two auteurs, Coogler and Paul Thomas Anderson, both directors, writing these pieces and winning for it. So the one we haven't actually talked about is Best Actor in a Leading Role because it went to none of the people nominated at the Oscars because it went to Robert Amaro for I Swear, which
Yeah.
uh, hasn't come out in the US yet. I think it's April
Yeah,
uh,
it's not eligible to the Oscars until
next year,
2027.
which I could still see it getting nominated. I can't lie because it's such a powerful film. It looks like such a powerful film. And what I've seen, I haven't had a chance to watch it because I was so busy during that time and didn't get a chance to go to cinema.
Yeah,
But it is releasing on Netflix on Tuesday, the 10th of March, in the UK, and I recommend everyone to watch it.
yeah.
After obviously all the stuff that's happened, I think people need to watch it to understand, and I think that's just my personal opinion anyway. And I think um, we need people need to realize other ways. I mean, what happened at the ceremony can be interpreted in many ways. But I
Oh,
believe that people well, it wasn't Davison's fault. It wasn't. It was what's happened with BBC and them
yeah,
not missing a, even though it was on a 2 hour delay. That's the only thing for
yeah.
me. But
That
people,
that's the thing, isn't it? You can't lay the blame on John Davidson on that one. That this has been talked about for weeks. The the blame lies, in my opinion, with the BBC and with BAFTA. And I'm sure that that will be fixed and that will be changed by the time we get to the BAFTAs in 2027.
yeah,
Just a quick few one before I'll move on and I'll do the actor, the final stop, the final stop for the acting lot, and then we'll talk through some of the smaller sort of awards for the critic for the
the other guilds, yeah.
directors guilds and all that. So because the actors obviously the big one that gets broadcasted live on Netflix. We know that um, best editing, which is always a big one, went to one battle after another. Editing usually suffices a lot to do with who goes for best picture. Original score went to Sinners again. Cinematography went to one battle after, which is a little bit of a shock. Obviously, we know Train Dreams won it back at the Golden Globes that we talked about, so
And
should tell
I'm
be
really surprised how Sinners haven't won one of these. Sinners has got one of the most incredible one shot in a
yeah,
film I think I've seen. That dance scene is one of the best pieces of media I have seen. And I'm so surprised how it hasn't won at the Oscars. And one of the only films that actually was filmed on actual proper IMAX film for a while. Most time you only really now see it with Nolan, but Nolan gave his blessing and said having to use the IMAX cameras, and I think that's really well shot in that. And I recommend if any of if you want to see Sinners and it goes to the cinema and you can get to an IMAX screen, I
Yeah,
100% recommend to watch it in IMAX. I really want to see it again. The IMAX back at my home in has isn't as big where I go to uni here. They've got the third biggest in the country, so
yeah.
I kind of want them to re-release it so I can watch it in the big screen.
Uh,
But
yeah.
highly recommend
And
it
then
if you have.
And then the big one was well, best animated film went to Zootropolis or Zootopia.
Mm,
Zootropolis as it is in the UK, but obviously due to but K-pop Demon Hunters didn't get it wasn't eligible at the BAFTAs, so bit different going into that. But we'll move on to the Act Awards before we get to the guilds. The former, obviously, normally the former SAG. This had a few big ones. Um, Michael B. Jordan picked up Sinners for best male actor, which means every big precursor we've seen a different winner
yeah,
except for critics and obviously critics got Timothy, which means Timothy was strong early on and was the favourite.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
very open now, I think, between
You've also
him.
got to think critics isn't as big as the others because critics don't
Yeah,
have a say at the Oscars
no,
anyway. Um, but I think Michael is probably one of the front runner. I would say now because it's the Actors Awards. It's who has the most say in the Oscars through the acting categories. But we'll 100% see that as well. I mean, Buckley won it again. So she's like, out of all the Oscar precursor, out of all the ones for the Oscars, obviously we'll talk about on Friday, but she's probably the most likely to win the award as she's won every single everywhere else.
yeah. Um, Supporting actors Sean Penn, like as usual, people think that would mean Sean Penn's sort of nearly nailed on, but there's someone that's not been nominated anywhere else except the Oscars, and that's Delroy Lindo, who's got a lot of appeal with the Oscar voting from what I've seen. So that could always change, and we'll talk about that, and we'll make our own predictions on Friday. Again, Amy Madigan, she's getting a lot of momentum. She picked up the supporting
Yeah.
actress for
Oh,
Weapons.
I
Um,
loved I loved how she went up. She went up and started doing the run walk from the
yeah, the
behind the.
run, the
I was
run,
I was in the gym. I was watching it. I was watching it while I was in the gym, and I was absolutely cracking up at her doing
yeah.
that. But
I
100% she deserves that. She's one of the. I'm loving to see horror love again at the Oscars. Obviously, we have Sinners and Weapons, but only one nomination for Weapons. I wish there was more because it was such a great film. But um, I'm really excited to see more horror love at the Oscars, though.
Yeah. And then outside performance by a cast and a motion picture. This sort of goes on casting as well. Sinners picked up the victory, which sort of goes on a little bit for best picture, but that's what I mean. I think you're looking, and Drew's gonna go through a lot of the guilds. One battle has picked up a lot of them, but don't
Yeah,
rule out Sinners just yet. We're still gonna say one battle is the favorite, and we'll talk more about that on Friday once we
yeah,
get. Because there's one thing we haven't got yet, which is the Writers Guild. That's happening as of recording tonight.
yes,
So we'll do a little thing at the start of Friday's episode. We'll start of the episode before the Oscars. We'll make sure to get the video out before Sunday. Um, but yeah, we'll talk more about that. But One Battle has won a lot of Best Picture, but like I say, don't rule out Sinners just
yeah,
yet. And then there was a stunt one, which won by Mission Impossible, but stunts aren't going to be the Oscars until next year, I believe, isn't it?
yeah, something like that. But it 100% deserves to be in it because it's one of the biggest parts of film. We saw that as when they had this the Fall Guy kind of thing a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
which was great. But yeah, so if we'll start with Directors Guilds, DGA. It did go to PTA, so one battle one for that one. Producing Guild, so obviously main people that was also won by PTA, so that was won by one battle, which is another one for them. which
yeah,
is which is a lot. And then Writers Guild is obviously on Saturday on tonight. I mean, sorry, which we'll see. But I think that like even Weapons got a nomination there. There's a lot of difference in that category as well.
yeah,
At WGA, but and then we also have the American Science Cinematographers, but I don't know when that is. But if we see that as well, there might be a bit difference in that as well. But yeah, 100%. Pretty excited for the Oscars this year.
yeah,
We'll be staying up for it to watch it, but there's an Oscars grid. If I'll see if I can pull it up at some point on here. But yeah, the only one who's got it is Buckley, and everywhere else there's always different winners. So
Yeah,
the only other category that has had that's like not that's except Critics' Choice is
it's
two. So
supporting.
it's Amy Magdalen and Sean Penn, the two supporters. But I feel like every Oscar apart from leading actress has it's anyone's game.
Yeah.
Anyone's
And like I say, these podcasts we're going to try and especially now, like you say, we've gone through the precursors. If you guys haven't watched them throughout the first few weeks, you sort of get an inkling on what sort of happened, um, and getting ready for the Oscars this weekend. Like I said, we'll do a prediction ourselves on Friday or that at the weekend before the Oscars. That'll be out, and then we'll do our reaction to four Oscars later in the week next week after they have finished. But thank you all for watching the first podcast on this new channel. Our aim is also get some social medias out and do a few more clips and stuff to sort of push this a bit more for you guys. But really good to do this again. Thank you, Drew, as always, for coming on, being my co-host. But yeah, thank you all for listening and watching. Have a great rest of your day, and also support your local cinema because they need you the most.